Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into Fantasy Football University, FFU, coming at you in week 16 of the fantasy football season. That is week 2 of the fantasy football playoffs, semifinals. Let's go, everybody. My name is Bill DeCousis. I'm here with Mr. Tom Lang. Mr. Lang, you ready for week 2 of the playoffs?
I'm ready for week 2. Unfortunately, those of us that had to go against Kyle Pitts this week probably found their way out of the playoffs, and that happened in 2 leagues. So luckily for me, I did get a little beat up there. But I will say, I just realized, I completely forgot there was a player in all of my best ball leagues in the name of Kyle Pitts. So I'm like happy but not happy that I lost in the fantasy football, but there's one more shot left in our leagues, and we're ready to go. But I'm also ready to make that $2 million in
And the best ball thing.
in that best ball league. So
We'll
let's
see.
I'll keep everybody in the loop with that one there.
We'll see. We'll see how that goes. So, how many leagues are you still alive in? Just the one?
Unfortunately, one.
Just the one with me.
Yeah, because again, I went against
Okay.
Kyle Pitts in every single
Okay.
one that I was in.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm actually alive in three because two leagues I had a bye and I managed to win my quarterfinals matchup. So I'm actually going to be looking to make some moves, and I'll be excited to get Tommy's opinion on a few of these guys because there's definitely some things that are affected by stuff that happened over the weekend, injuries and different various matchups and the such. We'll get into that today.
Hmm.
Um, so any other thoughts? I'm excited to jump right in. You want to jump right into this?
Yes, jump right in. I mean, it is an unfortunate week with some, heavy injuries as well too. So, you Patty Mahomes owners, that, he
Yeah, we'll get
got
to
you to
that.
where you are right now. We will talk about not just streamer options, but there are some pretty heavy opportunities to, plug in and feel comfortable with these guys for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, let's jump right into this. And, right at the top, just want to mention every guy that we're going to be talking about. All of our drop candidates and waiver options will be posted in the description of this episode's video on YouTube. So please check us out there as well. And before we jump into running backs, I just wanted to mention to everybody about like it's week 16 now, and maybe we could just 2 seconds, Tommy, just get into philosophy about what's happening here. So, we're not going to be talking about the week 18 people. That's like 1% of people. So for 99% of people, week 16, you've got your semifinals, and week 17, you got your finals. So philosophically, the way that you need to handle this, at least the way that I do, is the only guys you should be keeping on your team is anybody that you could possibly play or anybody that your opponents could possibly play. And that does include handcuffs for this week to make sure that you guys are safe. So any guys that, hey, like there's no more shots anymore. There's no more wait and see. There's no more of that. You don't have the room for that. And the point is get rid of them on your roster because there's no need. You can clog up your roster with other things that you might need, extra defenses, a handcuff running back, your opponent's handcuff running back, your
Yep.
opponent's wide receiver that they need, right?
Yep. 100%. I mean, you obviously have to look at the remaining 4 teams that are in there, and you have to see exactly what they need, and then you can basically maximize your roster spot, your bench spot to facilitate some of the players that may need to be rostered on those teams. So, you atypically kind of know what your starting lineup's going to be, obviously barring any injuries, but 100% like you're going in atypically with your stud guys, the guys that got you there, plus also maybe one or two waiver wire picks, maybe this week. But I really feel like, like I was telling you off air, one of the biggest things is you can't overthink this sometimes, but you have to play smart. You have to look at this is the time of the year. It doesn't matter about, how many points you put up. It's win or go home, right? So, you have to put up the more egregious points, and you have to see exactly what the matchups are for what your opponent is. Say, hey, listen, like I understand some of these projections are a little wonky. I know, say if you're going against Puka Nakua this week, you may want to overshoot what his projection is because, you know, oh, it could be a little rough if you're going to play that projection game.
Yeah. And we'll get into that too. We're gonna focus real hard, like the list of guys we're about to talk about, and really maybe more importantly, drop candidates that we're gonna be talking about. Like pay attention because we're not gonna do it without context. Um, And there's a lot of people that it affects. So let's jump right in here. Running backs, IR guys, we'll get them out the way quick. Austin Ekeler, James Conner, Najee Harris, Miles Sanders, Kendre Miller, Cam Skatebo, J.K. Dobbins, and Trey Benson not coming back for the season. Let them go. Other running back drop candidates, we'll mention it again. Rachad White, there's no reason to keep him on the team anymore. If Irving were to go down this week, Tucker and White are going to split snaps for the final week of your season. It's not going to be as good. It's not as worth it. Let him go. And the other name on here is Bam Knight. So we thought we had an Arizona running back that was going to be the guy, quote unquote, until the end of the year, but then he got taken out on a cart. And this is another one that like. I'm so done with Gannon. I don't care what he like. It looked bad. He's not playing. He's not going to play. And even if miraculously he was to come back for week 17, Tommy, to your point, are you going to feel confident putting in Bam Knight on a complicated Arizona backfield, coming back from a sprained ankle injury 2 weeks after the fact on Arizona? Like, no way, no way. Let him go.
I don't think it's a smart move. I mean, it is intriguing based on his matchups. Not Atlanta this upcoming week, because Atlanta's been playing, pretty decent, even though they're mathematically eliminated.
Not
But
defensively, but
not defensively, but then you got Cincinnati in the championship week, and you could be like, maybe I'm going to shoot for the stars and throw him in, but you're not going to play him over Ashingenti. So
right. But to make it all about you and to make it that specific about you, but
no,
yes,
just in reality, I'm just
yeah.
trying to put it out there. Like you're not gonna play Bam Knight over Ashingenti, or you're not gonna play Bam Knight over what you call it, Kyron Williams, that's been
Or
regression
Brees Hall, right?
or Brees Hall. So
Right. And just to reiterate that point, like he's not going to play this week after that injury. And even if that's what we're saying, he's not, even if miraculously he was to come back the week after, it's an amorphous backfield with lots of guys in there. We've talked about Arizona the whole year. So no, it's a no. Let him go. Um, and we're not quite into week 7. We're not into week 17 yet, but this is a pre-notice for next week. If you get to next week and your starters and your opponent's starters are healthy, you could go ahead and drop the handcuffs. But we're not there yet,
mhm.
so you don't need to drop them yet. Let's talk about the pickup options. And I just want to skip the top name real quick, Tommy, because we just talked about Arizona. We got to talk about Arizona again. Therefore, Michael Carter and Emari Demercado are both pickups for anybody who might have been trying to piece together Arizona backfield stuff.
Yeah.
And to your point though, like, we kind of talked about this last week. If you got through whatever nonsense was happening with Houston last week, I mean, now they've got good matchups, Atlanta and Cincinnati here. So I'm not saying that they're going to, Michael Carter, for example, he's going to be league winning, but there is value to be had there. And there might be people who like might have lost a back or something. We'll get to the Houston situation coming up, but we talked about it like, hey, which guys are actually worth picking up? I think Michael Carter and very deep leagues, Demercado, they are worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Emari Demercado is over Michael Carter
You think?
based on his receptions, and then obviously they will utilize him a little bit more in the return game, which gives you, if he returns the ball. But again, there are some leagues that obviously get return yards as well too, so you have to put it in perspective. So I do think that he could be a little bit more heavily used in the passing game because of who they're playing and whatnot. So
Okay. Well, let's talk about Blake Corum then.
he
First
needs to
of
be rostered, and he needs to be
yeah,
played.
yeah. So I by the way, I couldn't agree with you more. You've been calling this out for however many weeks, but I just want to be clear because people online sometimes get the wrong impression. This does not mean that Blake Corum is the starter. It doesn't
No,
mean that you don't play Kyron Williams. It
no,
does.
yeah, no. You're playing both. I mean, they're not throwing the ball as heavily as they were early in the seasons, and they're utilizing the ground game. They're trying to grind out some of these games. They got Seattle. That's another running game, right? That's another control the ball on the ground game. That if they, in order for them to win this game, that's what they need to do. And then Atlanta, it's a decent matchup as well too. So I mean, yeah, you're playing Blake Corum. I don't know why you wouldn't play him unless you have,
Better options.
yeah, better options. But let's put it this way, like, let me pull up the rest of the week, the schedule for some of these big players, and you could continue, and I'll just fall back
Well,
into
here
this.
I got an easy question for you because I have this in the league that I just won, and now I'm in the semifinals. My running backs are actually they are Bijan Robinson and Kyron Williams. But for my flex, I've usually now that he came back, I was throwing in Omarion Hampton. I had like a backup wide receiver I was throwing in there. Would I be okay playing Blake Corum, recognizing that I already have Kyron Williams? So it's like,
100%.
but then
100%.
I'm like capping my upside to some degree,
You're
you
not
know?
really capping your upside. I mean, just got to remember, like, this is almost to the tier of what Gibbs and Montgomery were, except for you don't have a speedy running back, right? None of them are like just like flyer guys. They're both ground
They're
and
both
pound.
super athletes. I
Yeah,
mean,
100%. Let me put it this way. I know I said something about Ashton Genty, right? A couple minutes ago. This is where I'd play Blake Corum over Ashton Genty because Ashton Genty's going against Houston's defense. Houston's going to smash. So this is where I would actually play that. Blake Corum, I feel 100% confident with what he's got going. The Seahawks were little. I don't know if they were just like playing a little, looking forward to this week. And this is a Thursday night game too.
that's right.
Um, this is a short week, so they almost lost that game against the Colts, against the Philip Rivers Colts. Um, but and they didn't look too good, holding the ground game, and they did have a number of guys in the box. So this could be another good week for Blake Corum, obviously for Kyron Williams as well too. But this is that I would 100% play him over Ashton Genty and some of those other guys.
Okay. No, I agree with you. And would you would have Blake Corum as the number one top pickup if he's available? No, no question.
He has to be picked up and he has to be played.
Okay. And he
It's
has to be played.
Yeah, there is no question. There is no question about it.
Okay. We'll talk about that a little more on the preview show.
If you have an RB1 and an RB2 or a high-end RB2 or maybe two RB1s, you're obviously not thinking about that. But in a flex position where you're just maybe been like shifting in and out guys all season because of matchups and stuff like that, this is a guy that it's matchup proof. He's going in there. He has to play. He's the number 13 running back in the past 4 weeks. You have to play him.
Well, just to be clear, he might not be available in your league. He's 30% owned in ESPN, so decent enough shot. 59% in sleeper. So
50-50.
hope maybe you could get that. We mentioned the Arizona guys. Let's just quickly talk about the New Orleans situation. And actually, Tommy, I want to echo your sentiments from earlier. Like, we could talk about Audric Estime here because we don't know the Devin Neal or Kamara status. The only scenario where I'd even remotely consider this pickup is if we knew a priori today, hey, Kamara's done and Neal is done. Otherwise, why are we bothering with it? You know?
Let me tell you something. Kamara and Neal may be out again this week. Do you know who I'm actually anticipating to have a pickup week?
Are you going to say Taysom Hill
Yeah,
again?
100%. He's going against the Jets. This is a
I know.
great opportunity. And I have him in that best ball league. So I'm really thinking it's going to ride and I'm going to move on to the finals. It's going to be amazing.
If you knew today that Devin Neal and Kamara were out, would you say Estime is a tertiary ad?
No,
No, not even in
no,
consideration. Okay.
no,
It's
no.
too low. Okay.
It's too low. I don't think that. And also, like, yeah, I mean, if you want to take a shot, take a shot. I just don't think anything's going to happen with it. I really, really feel that if both of those guys are out, they're gonna lean with Taysom Hill as a running back and a tight end. It's just he's gonna get an opportunity. He's the higher contract guy. They don't need to see who's going to be the running back next year. They're going to either draft somebody. They're not leaning with Audric Estime. They have, Devin Neal is going to be the guy as
Yeah,
well too.
they're not gonna draft anybody. Devin Neal, and then when Kendre Miller comes back, God bless him if he ever comes back.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right, let's talk about Houston. So I don't know what the Woody Marks situation is at this point. I tried to look it up this morning. There's literally nothing online about it. I don't know the Nick Chubb status, but I do know in Woody Marks and Nick Chubb's absence, some guy named Jahwar Jordan goes and looks great when he's playing. So I know that Jahwar Jordan and Daria Gumbawale were kind of splitting. Jahwar Jordan looked like the more explosive guy. I don't know if that's just an amorphous mess and don't even bother with it because you're in
No,
your playoffs now. Like,
no,
or
you're not messing with it. I mean, Woody Marks is day to day. I mean, day to day means he's going to play. If it was week to week, that's a different story. But day to day, they're so far in this season that there's no reason for him not to play. This guy has been playing hurt on and off all year. He's going to
right.
play.
Yeah,
There's no,
you said it yourself, right? He runs himself to getting hurt or whatever it
yeah,
is.
he
Yeah.
is literally this year's. I mean, he is this year's Kenneth Glass Walker, but he actually plays hurt.
Right.
Kenneth Glass Walker just gets hurt.
Well, I bring this up because I would want to start a Houston running back at home against the Raiders this week. So I
Oh yeah,
mean, hopefully that works itself out. Again, this is another one that if I knew right now that Marks and Chubb were out, Jahwar Jordan's a pickup
no.
to Dare? No, not even considering. Not even a
No.
consideration.
Okumbawale is going to get those goal line touches.
Okay, maybe and then it washes the both of their values because
Yeah, I
they
don't know
mix it
if I
up.
would. I don't. If both of those guys are out, then they're just throwing the ball. And
All right.
Okumbawale is a pass catching running back. So
All right. Let's talk about your favorite backfield in the whole wide world. So Chris Rodriguez was considered a was ruled out for the game this past week, and to Tommy's horror, Ja'Cory Cross-Garrett, JCM, Bill, whatever you want to call him, had a great game in his absence.
congratulations, Bill. You did the same exact thing you did week one against the Giants. Guess what happens after that? 1.7 points. Don't fall into the trap.
Yeah, so we've got JCM at 48% on ESPN, 43% in sleeper, and Chris Rodriguez, 36% in ESPN, 57% in sleeper. I don't know if JCM, quote, won his running back job back.
No.
I don't know, but I do know that they're playing Philadelphia this week, and so I wouldn't want to play either of them. But
Yeah, they got Philadelphia and then they got Dallas.
right, that Dallas is a nice matchup, though.
It's a decent matchup. It's not the same matchup it was a couple weeks ago before the trade deadline, though.
All right, so let me ask you this then. If neither of them are pickups, are both of them drops?
Chris Rodriguez is not a drop. You have to hold on to him. He's a
You
starting
still
running
hold
back.
on to
Yeah,
him.
he's going to be the starting running back of
Is
this
he?
offense. I guarantee you they come back next week and JCM takes, the bench again.
Okay. Okay. So JCM to you isn't really an ad. It's
No.
just a nod
Do
to what he
not
does.
do not fall in that trap. If you start JCM, you're going to be really regretting it next week. He's going to be the sole reason probably why you don't make the championship.
All
Don't
right.
do it.
All right. I'll take JCM off the ad list. Would that make you happy?
Yes.
All right. I'll take him off. Um,
It should be like we should create a list to do not touch.
the do not touch list.
The do not touch list.
All right. We'll get to the sit rep in a minute, but I just wanted to make the point of, Blake Corum's really the top of the list, but this is an extra mention to get a hold of your handcuffs, and if you have some room, maybe get a hold of your opponent's handcuffs, or maybe, I don't want to say look ahead, but like guys that would be otherwise very high value handcuffs, because I'd rather have all of them over JCM, Jahwar Jordan, like I'd rather have Algier. I'd rather have, Manungai. I'd rather have those guys instead of those.
100%. Yeah, yeah.
So I would say, honestly, Tommy, in the list that we talked about, I mean, Blake Corum and Michael, and then, your choice of Michael Carter and Emari Demercado probably would be the real guys worth picking up. But
Blake Corum he's a must pick up and a must
another
start if you get him.
must start's a big thing. We'll get to that in the preview show, but
No, no, it's not a big thing.
I
It's just
think it is.
he's been consistent for the past number of weeks. I mean, he's the number what I said 11 running back. You can't
Okay.
you can't ignore that.
Okay. All right, let's do the quick set rep here. Arizona, we talked about Atlanta. Bijan's the guy, and Algier you need to have as the handcuff. Baltimore, Henry's the guy, and now it's like Mitchell and Ali are going to be kind of splitting backup duties, so you don't really need to hold a handcuff there. Buffalo, Cook is the guy, and Johnson and Davis are the going to be splitting backup duties there. Carolina, we're 50-50 between Chuba and Rico, and I was encouraged by how Rico looked. Like now it looks like they're going to be switching off. Now they've turned into Seattle here now, Carolina. Chicago, we got Swift is the guy, Monunga is the handcuff, and Monunga is a high value handcuff. Cincinnati, Brown is the guy, and P. Ryan is the handcuff. Cleveland, Judkins is the guy, and Sampson would have been the handcuff, but you don't really need to worry about Sampson anymore. This because of the injury situation and like he coming back from injury. On top of the fact that Cleveland is not good enough to roster more than one back, so you could let them go for right now. Dallas, Javante's the guy. Davis is the handcuff. Denver, Harvey's the guy. You don't need to roster handcuff. Bidet and Sarah McLaughlin will be splitting stuff.
Sarah
Detroit,
McLaughlin.
Detroit, Jameer Gibbs is the guy, and Montgomery. He's got his own standalone value himself, but in the line of higher value handcuffy, that kind of thing. Green Bay, Jacobs is the guy. Wilson's the handcuff. By the way, I don't know if you noticed it on Sunday Live. A million people were asking me about Emmanuel Wilson. Like, do these people not notice their own actives? Like Josh Jacobs was declared active before the game. Therefore, you don't play Wilson. I had to answer like 40 Wilson questions.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this, and if I was running the show, not to be a D-bag, but I would have been like, guys, I'm not answering any more Emmanuel Wilson questions. There is no reason to start Emmanuel Wilson when Josh Jacobs is playing. So in that case, this is the player I'm starting. This is the player I'm starting. This is the player I'm starting.
Right. Well, anyway, it got to a point where like actually I was questioning myself. I was like, is there news that I didn't see? Like, did Jacobs get hit by a bus or something? Like, what happened? But no, it was just I guess people weren't sure that,
No, Jacobs
his
was the
injury or
bus
whatever.
running into that end zone for that touchdown.
Yeah, come on, guys. Jacobs is the guy when he's in. It is what it is. Now, I would want to have Wilson for sure. So, taking that.
Just in case. I mean, it was a little scary that I think it was like on Friday he came out saying that, he's day to day, he needs to see what happens. They're going to drain out his knee again. I mean, you knew he was going to play. It was a very, very big game,
Right.
against Denver. He had to play that game. But, it is, I don't like,
I'm telling you, I thought about this.
drama.
Yeah, it's drama. Like, I don't know if you've heard Shannon Sharp talk about this. If I was a high profile player and they were questioning, oh my God, is he going to play or not? If I had to go to the press conferences, I would go to the press conference on one of those old people scooters and being like, just roll and slowly be like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to make it.
You just walk in with a limp.
Yeah, just like overplay it. But
Yeah.
before the game, they declared him active. So I don't know. We'll leave it there.
I
Houston,
wish I wish more people would just like Amon-Ra St. Brown, just like toughed it out and just didn't play the narrative.
not everybody is Jacobson Brown, man. We got a lot of other guys in the league. So Houston, we talked about it. Indianapolis, Taylor's the guy. You don't need to roster any of the backups. Jacksonville, Etienne's the guy. Tutin's the high value handcuff. And hey, Tommy, we both were right on this. Tutin had a good game,
He had
and
a good game, but he got hurt too.
he did get hurt. I think he's going to be okay. By the way, everybody's going to have a good game against the Jets. I'm sorry that you had to watch that horrible aberration there.
Hey, I won all my bets, so it was
Yeah.
nice.
Kansas City, Pacheco and Hunt are going to 50-50. And now without Mahomes, it's a real downturn for that team. So it kind of caps their
What do you
value.
mean? What do you mean? It's you got Gardner Minshew,
Yeah.
Uncle Rico.
Yeah. Uncle Rico, indeed. Yeah. Y'all saw y'all saw what happened when he came in.
Yeah, he got thrown
So,
to the Wolves. But
yeah.
don't play him this week. He is not a spot start this week.
Yeah, I'm not feeling good about Pacheco or Hunt. Honestly, I know they're playing Tennessee this week, depending on the performance, considering that week 17, they're home against Denver. We might have Pacheco and Hunt as drop candidates next week, just to
I
clear
I
space.
I would not be surprised if Tennessee beats the Chiefs this week.
I wouldn't either. We're going to talk a little more about that. I also the Chiefs' motivation's out the window too, so
Yeah.
we'll talk more about that. The Chargers, Hampton's the guy, Vidal's the handcuff. The Rams, we talked about the whole situation. Kyron and Corum are both extremely valuable, so yeah, we talked about it. Las Vegas, Gentsy's the guy. You don't need to roster any handcuffs. I would love to see Genty do anything this year. Might not happen this week, but maybe next week. We'll talk about that. Miami, Devon Achane's the guy, and at this point, Tommy, I don't think that I like Gordon and Wright, like they're just splitting handcuff duties at this point. If you watch the game and if you looked at their snap counts.
Yeah, it was a rough game though too. They were playing from behind pretty heavily. I mean, the first half was pretty good. I mean, it was pretty tight, and then after that, just kind of loosened up on the Steelers side. So, they had a really good game when it comes down to the Steelers, but the Dolphins can't play in the cold. It's not even a narrative. It's just literally fact.
Yeah. Minnesota, Jones and Mason are 50-50 it, and they're both in a good matchup this week. New England, Henderson's the guy, and now he's the guy. He is the guy now. It's if it wasn't clear before, it's clear now. And Stevenson is the handcuff. Hopefully you can have him on your team. New Orleans, we talked about it. The Giants, Tracy and Singletary are 50-50 it, unless Tracy has like alpha dogged his way to that now, or no?
It's 50-50.
Okay. The Jets, Brees is the guy and Davis is the handcuff.
Bo
Um,
Davis has been getting a little bit more touches on the ground, especially when you're losing by 40 points.
which may or may not continue to happen. Well, it'll definitely happen in week 17, maybe not week 16. Philadelphia, Barkley's the guy, Biggs the handcuff. It's nice to see Barkley bouncing back this season. Pittsburgh, Warren's the guy, and Gainwell is also the guy. I don't know, like, I guess they're 50-50ing it themselves at this point. So I I don't know, but I know that both of them are good. Both of them are real good. Now, we'll talk about that more, but they're at Detroit this week. So maybe the upside, the upside. Although Detroit's defense is like letting up so many points at this point. I looked at the over under; it's over 50 points already for
Oh.
this game. So maybe I'll be thinking about Gainwell this week. We'll talk about it. Seattle, Walker, and Charbonnet are 50-50ing it. That's been such a great year for them. I know, endless source of fun for me and Tommy. San Francisco, McCaffrey's the guy. Robinson's the handcuff. Tampa Bay, Irving's the guy you don't need to roster. White or Tucker. And Tennessee, Pollard at this point just established himself as the guy. Two really amazing weeks in a row. He's the guy again. Spears, if you want to call it a higher value handcuff, but Tommy, I will say I've been impressed by Tennessee as of late. They're fighting, they're staying competitive, their offense is moving it. I like the way Cam Ward is looking a little bit better. He's had his growing pains, but I like that they're fighting, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, they're a team that's not looking to have, I mean, they need a heavy draft pick, but they're not a team that's looking to get a quarterback this year. I mean, they got their quarterback. He's been playing well. I mean, there's been some, controversy with the coaching staff, on and off this year. It's been a really rough year. But it's been interesting how they've been performing, and they've been putting up an opportunity every single week. Not saying they're going to win, but they're being competitive, and this is where I feel like Spears is still an opportunity to maybe if he very very low opportunity, but if you need somebody for massive upside, this could be a week that you can maybe plug him in to your lineup if you need massive upside.
But not Pollard.
No,
After
no,
what he's done the last 2 weeks, you don't care.
I still don't care.
You still don't care. Okay.
Nope.
Fine, fine, fine. And Washington, we talked about the situation. Yeah, we don't need to beleaguer that point anymore. But let's talk about wide receivers, and there's a lot to talk about here. There's a lot to talk about because this is where you're going to get the meat of your extra points from. So the IR drop guys, again, Malik Nabers, Tyreek Hill, Travis Hunter, Calvin Ridley, let them go for anybody who still has them, and a lot of people do.
Mhm.
Other drop candidates. I know that the first five names, there's not going to be a single disagreement between us. So Xavier Worthy, goodbye. Keenan Allen, goodbye. Jerry Jeudy, goodbye. Darnell Mooney, goodbye. Keon Coleman, double goodbye. So yeah, let them all go. Um, okay. So I need you to help me sift through this because each name is a little bit different. So Devontae Adams, um, I was very inclined to just say it's not even a question because he's not going to play the next 2 weeks. But am I being too fast with that? Is he going to come back the next week, or how do you see Devontae here?
Well, the good news is he's probably not playing this week, and we got him against in that in our big money league. So
Yes, the high
that's
stakes.
yeah, it's a very very nice. You never wish for injuries, but when you're going against somebody that's like that, and it's unfortunate for that guy. But anyway, I do think that I mean you're not dropping him. You can't drop him.
Why?
Because he may come back the following week. And if he comes back the following week, even at half speed, he's still a red zone target. Even if he's a decoy down the field inside the 20s, outside the 20s, he has an opportunity to score.
Can
So
I can I can I say something about that just to maybe check your mind? Let's say let's say what you're saying is right, which I don't think it is. One full week and you have to win. Have to win.
but
Maybe depending on whatever's going on with your roster. I don't know. But like that being said, that
but
hamstring injury looked awful, Tommy. It
no,
looked
yeah,
awful.
it did. I mean, obviously you have to see what happens towards the end of this week and stuff like that, or maybe in today we'll find out. The severity of it in all reality, and then they'll say what's going on. I don't know if they actually physically could put him on IR because it's so close to the end of the season. They need to make sure he's there for the playoff.
I think they got plans for the playoffs. They're not gonna push that. Think about it. There's no way he's playing this week at Seattle. And the
No,
next week they're Atlanta. Like they're gonna be fine. There's no way they play him.
I just don't know if it's smart to drop a player of his caliber this late in the year, unless you have the flexibility to do so.
But
Um, but like I said, I want to know if there's any news today or tomorrow. I don't think you're going to drop him for a waiver pickup unless you're picking up Mike Evans. That's it.
we'll talk about it. But honestly, let's pretend the news is what we know that it's going to be. Well, Devontae Adams is week to week, and Sean McVay, when asked about it, says, "Hey, it's not looking good, but I'm not ruling him out." Like that's how they talk about that stuff. So if that's the case, and we get no other information by tonight, which would be Tuesday night, and everybody's waivers are running through Wednesday, whatever. If you're asking me after what I saw, and it's a hamstring injury, I'm dropping him. So everybody can take of that what they
Yeah,
will.
take it of what you will. I wouldn't do it. I want to see he's too good of a player. And he is pretty much the red zone target for that team. So I'm just not sure if I feel comfortable pulling that trigger. He's got, again, if he's declared 100% out for the next 2, 3 weeks, then yeah, you have to do it and you have to pick up a player that you potentially can plug in. If this is a keeper league, then,
Well, we're not
that's a
we're
different
really
story.
we're not really addressing that because then it's like, oh, you could have kept Malik Nabers at that point. I don't know. Like it's like we're not getting into that. I will say that even if you take best case scenario, it's still a drop consideration because best case scenario he misses this week and he's back, eh, like Tommy said, in a weird way for a game that they should have in the bag. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I would drop him. You guys take of that information unless we hear some magical news this today. So we'll wait on that. Um, Roma Dunze, so this one's interesting. Like this is the only example of a player I can remember in recent memory that he was declared active before the game, and then 13 seconds before the game started, oh no, 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 he aggravated something and he's inactive. And hopefully you guys were quick and you caught that on your phones to be able to make that change in your lineup if you were actually thinking of. We never would have started Rome in this game, but I know this affected a lot of people. So I don't know exactly what an aggravation of his prior injury is, if that means he's out 1 week, if that means he's out 2 weeks. Tommy, are you dropping him? Do you think he's going to be out a week? Would you not drop him because you think he's going to be in? How do you handle Rome here?
I feel like for me, it's the same situation. You can't drop him, but
Same.
I don't think he's playing this week.
You can't drop him, but you don't think he's playing this week.
No, I mean, again, I don't, unless you need to play somebody off of the waiver wire, I'm not dropping him for somebody that's just going to sit on my line, sit in my roster,
Rome has not
my
had a
bench.
good game in a very long time.
I understand that, but
Mm,
I'm not gonna drop him to pick up Cooper Cup. I'm not gonna drop him to pick up a Donnie Mitchell. I'm not gonna drop him to pick up, Jalen Coker. I'm not gonna take a shot like that.
Would you drop him to take, your defense for week 17 or your quarterback for next week or something,
There's a possibility with that, but it would have to be very, very intriguing for me to do something like that. Again, if Rome comes back next week, he's gonna. We know what happens with some of these young quarterbacks. They get their new shiny toy back in the lineup and they start plugging away. So I just don't know.
I could tell you how I would handle this. If it turns out that he doesn't play this week, then I'm dropping him because there's not a chance on this planet that next week, even if he's declared in, that I would have the wherewithal, like I would have the ability to play him next week. How could you after what he's done and not done? So if you know that you're not going to play him, even if he's active, how do you keep him on your team? Now,
Like
again,
like
you
like I
judge
said,
your
it's
options,
it's it's
but
a, it's scenario based. If you have an opportunity to pick up somebody that you can plug in, then do it. But if you don't, I just don't know if you can or you should.
okay, okay. All right. Well, people can, I'm glad we're talking about it. People could take, the trepidations as they are. Let's talk about Quentin Johnston. This one's, I think, is less than the other guys because I think he's going to be okay. I think he's going to be able to play. And considering the matchup, if he's in, I would be interested in throwing him in there because the Chargers are at Dallas. That having been said, if he's out this week, I think he's a full drop considering that they're playing Houston the next week. And it was, hit or miss really for Quentin Johnston too, right?
Hmm.
All right, so pay attention to the news on that. See if you get any more information today. If it looks like he's not going to play, don't even think about it. Drop him. But if he is, it's Dallas. I would consider it. Um, Let's talk about Christian Watson, Tommy. So the injury looked real bad, but according to the reports, it looked like he's going to be fine. That having been said, considering that we've grown to like him, he's like the lead guy in Green Bay or whatever. If he's not going to play, then do you keep him just for a Week 17 matchup with Baltimore, or do you drop him?
This is one I'm dropping. I don't think he's going to play. Um, I think he's going to be out for at least 2 weeks. He is a slow recovery kind of guy, and even he's the one that when he comes back, he aggravates things, at times. So I would not feel comfortable with having him or even playing him moving forward.
Okay. I agree with that. It's funny. You were more conservative with what I didn't think you were, and you were more aggressive with what I didn't think you would say. So interesting. You
Interesting, right?
surprised me.
I surprise you.
Um, were there any other drop candidates that were at the top of your mind? I wanted to make sure I hit everybody that was like real questionable here.
No, I think everything that we discussed there, obviously, Darnell Mooney is
Yeah,
don't touch him.
yeah.
But that's pretty much everything.
All right, let's talk about pickup options and let's get a little bit of probably owned out the way here. So those are the two Bucks wide receivers here, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are both 70 between 70 and 80% on ESPN and Sleeper here. Both need to be rostered, and for the most part, both need to be played. We'll get into that when we talk about the preview show. And a lot of credit goes to you, Tommy, on this. Like, I think they've usurped a lot of Ibuka. I
Hmm.
really do. That being said, I still think Ibuka is super talented, but it's just they've really relegated him to a different to down the totem pole there.
Yeah.
So it makes us look real good on those trade calls that we did earlier in the season. So yeah, so Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Chances are they're not going to be there though. So let's talk about Jaden Reed. So if not just if Watson is out, but even if he's not, I think he's worth a pickup, right?
Yeah. Watson is definitely worth a pickup.
Jaden Reed.
Sorry. My bad. Jada Reed is definitely worth the pickup. I think he's the one that basically drove down the field. He helped him get to that final play that basically helped him win the game. So he is getting more acclimated to the offense. He does look really good running his routes as well too. And obviously we all know what Jada Reed does in the playoffs. Fantasy football playoffs. So
Yeah. 46% in ESPN, 46% in Sleeper. Maybe he'll be there. Yeah,
mhm.
he's definitely worth a pickup. Let's talk about Cooper Kupp. 50-50 on both. He's had a good 2 games, but I just want to highlight they are now at home against the Rams in a game they absolutely need to win. Give the revenge narrative, the whole thing. I can't see Cooper Kupp like goosing you in this week. I think the lowest he'll get is a decent enough game for you, and obviously there's some upside there in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying with the revenge and all that stuff. He's already had his revenge, opportunity, and it is home, in Seattle. He already played his revenge game in LA. You know, I would say if he was on a different team, yes, like or with a different quarterback, that different quarterback would hyper target a player, but I don't think they're going to deviate around what their system is, and their system is not feed Cooper Cup 100 times. He, Darnold, in order for them to win this game, I honestly say to stay competitive in this game, is he has to play the same system, spreading the ball and utilizing his running backs in the ground game. Same thing, on the other side of the ball. Like now, Devontae Adams is out. Most likely is going to be out this game. Most definitely is going to be out this game. So I think it's going to be a little bit of a tighter matchup. But the way that Seattle wins this game is they can't force the ball in a target, and I don't think Cooper Cup gets those forced targets. He is a low end flex play for me this week.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I'll ask you at the end, but I was going to ask you like
Let's just put it
how
this
you
way.
would slot him to these
I
other
would,
names
I
we
would,
have
I
here.
would, I would play Adonai Mitchell over Cooper Cup this week if I needed upside.
Okay, well, let's talk about Adonai Mitchell. So he's 30% in ESPN, 37% in Sleeper, so he'll probably be a much better shot that he's there. Um, we were so petrified, but he managed to be good even with Brady Cook as the quarterback. So he's been good with Tyrod. He's been good with Brady
Uh,
Cook.
and I will say it didn't look good from the beginning. He did drop a couple balls.
Right.
And the first couple balls that were thrown to him were not good. But then as the week, the game went on, he got 9 targets for 6 receptions, 58 yards, and a touchdown. And then he got that fun one carry for -4 yards. But he did finish the wide receiver 14 of the week. And I do anticipate him to continue to get the targets. And again, going against New Orleans, New Orleans is, a sneaky matchup. They obviously are not a good football team, but they're a competitive football team.
They are
They beat the Panthers last week, which obviously opened the door that the NFC South is going to continue to be a grind for the rest of
wide
the year,
open. Atlanta's not
which is
eliminated.
no, they are.
They're not
Atlanta's
eliminated. No,
Atlanta is eliminated.
no, they're not.
Okay. But they're even if they're not eliminated, they're not gonna find their way in.
They
The
probably might
Panthers,
not.
the Panthers or the Bucks are going to be the team that wins it. And honestly, but going back to New Orleans, I just see it being a tighter matchup than the Jacksonville. I think New Orleans' defense could be better than Jacksonville's defense, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I was encouraged. I was encouraged by what I saw. You'd have again to start a Jets player not named Brees Hall. It's just going to take a level of
Yeah, I mean,
desperation.
yeah,
But
Donnie Mitchell is like a double flex play, um,
right.
potentially.
Well, I'll say this about him. I'm encouraged by the fact that it doesn't matter how many passes he's been dropping. He just continues to get targets. They keep going to him because, I mean, I think he's better
Because
than,
there's nobody else.
well, basically because there's nobody else. I mean, we like
And
Mechie,
also,
but
and
Mitchell
also,
seems to be the guy.
and also Mason Taylor has been injured and he hasn't really been in the lineup as much as well too. So, he's pretty much like the target for that.
Yeah, no, I agree with the situation. Excuse me. So, how do you see Luther Burden given what we just talked about with the Bears wide receiver core here?
No, don't do it. It's DJ Morning. It's DJ Moore time.
No matter if Rome is out, no matter.
No.
Okay. You know what? I'm kind of inclined to agree with you because I mean he was having trouble beating out Olamide Zacchaeus
Yeah, I
along
mean
the
he
depth
did
chart
get
here.
and he is getting targets, but he's not getting the glorified targets which is in the red zone. So yeah, if you want 11, 9 to 11 points at your wide receiver 2 play or maybe your flex, yeah, okay, that's okay, but it is outside the wide receiver 2 range. It is wide receiver high and wide receiver 3. Again, targets are great, but I'd rather feel comfortable plugging in obviously a guy in DJ Moore over Luther Burden, all day long. I don't think Rome plays again this week. Um,
This year, you mean, or this week?
this week.
Okay. Okay. Well, like I said, given the Rome situation, if I know he's not going to play this week, then I'm dropping him because there's no way I stick him back in the following week coming off of an injury. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Okay. Let's talk about Jalen Coker, who you might feel better. You're a fan of Coker. I remember you've talked about him a couple times in the past. So he's available he's by far the most available guy that we've talked about here. He's had 2 good games in a row. And he's had 4 targets every game since week 10. At least 4 targets every game since week 10. They got a decent matchup this week, bad one next week. But for this week, home against Tampa Bay, um, emergency flex play or maybe with some higher upside. Like you said, if you're playing a juggernaut and you need some higher upside, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that this is going to be a massive high scoring game. I'm not sure what the line shows on this, but I think that, he could be somebody. I'll say I'd rather play a Donnie Mitchell over Jalen Coker, because of the targets he's going to receive. There's a lot of targets being spread throughout on that offense of the Panthers. So I'd rather lean with a Donnie Mitchell than a Jalen Coker. But again, Jalen Coker is gonna receive that end zone target when Tet is not open. When Tet is not open. So um, He's pretty much like the second read inside the 20.
Are there any other names that you're interested in? And I want to throw out names that some ideas that I decided against. For example, any of the remaining LA Rams wide receivers, I don't see them becoming beneficiaries, even that Devontae is out. I think we're going to talk about somebody who's going to be a beneficiary, but I agree with you that they're going to do more running game stuff and
They have
shorter
to.
shorter area targets or
Yeah,
whatever.
I think Corum gets another two or three more touches on the ground and maybe another reception through the air, and that just kind of
Right.
subsidizes like what you're missing from Devontae. So
Yeah, so I'm not we didn't bring up the other Rams guys. That's Tutu and the other guy that I can't remember his name. We didn't bring them up. We also didn't bring up the Tennessee guys. That's Kamara DK, Elok Manor. I mean, I got it. Ward's playing better, but they're just spreading the ball around and they do have a bad matchup this week. So
and their tight end has been playing very well. Was it
Gunnar Helm.
Gunnar Helm? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
He's-
he's very talented. I think he's somebody that when we talk about tight ends, I might feel pretty good about this upcoming week.
Okay. Yeah. So we didn't throw in everybody that we could talk about, and we're not chasing points on, some random guy who caught a touchdown either. So keep it in mind. We try to. So here's a question for you, Tommy. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin might not be there for people. So if
Hmm.
that's the case, and even Jaden Reed might not be available, who would you be most interested in? Adonai Mitchell, then? Is that what I'm
Yeah.
gathering?
So the way let's just say Cooper Kupp, Adonai Mitchell, Luther Burden, and Jalen Coker, I'll rate them in an order. So I'll go Adonai Mitchell is number one, Cooper Kupp, Jalen Coker, and then Luther Burden.
Okay. Okay. Any other names?
No,
Okay.
I think that's it. I mean, obviously, you know, you could go in the route of Darius Slay if you really want to.
Darius Slayton.
Darius Slayton.
I don't.
But I don't know if I would play him. So
Well, if you're not gonna play somebody, don't. Or if you're even remotely considering playing somebody, or if even an opponent would, then you don't
let's just
then you
say
don't
if you're
get
in a
him.
14 or 16 man league and you need a player because everybody's off the board and Darius Slayton is the only available wide receiver there, maybe, and you lost out on Devontae Adams, you might have to throw him in.
If anybody's in a 16 team league, please like DM us or something because we would love to see it. Really, let us know.
Yeah, I was on a
L-
14. It was an interesting year.
Yeah. Let's go to tight ends. The IR drop guys, Tucker Kraft, Sam Laporta, Tyler Higbee, and Zach Ertz on their team. Let them go. Other drop candidates, I know I'm not going to hear. Tommy and I are in full agreement here. David Njoku, he has the injury situation, and he's been taken over by Fannin. Let him go. Evan Ingram, let him go. I still don't know how people possibly have him on the team. Just like let him go. It's not worth it anymore. But let's talk about ads here. And I think the top two names on this list, it's not even close how basically compared to everybody else. So it's Darren Waller and Colby Parkinson. So Darren Waller, I don't know how good of a game he has to have for him to put himself on the radar. And now they're playing the Cincinnati Bengals next week. So
Mhm.
please pick up Darren Waller. He's going to be a must start this week. Yeah, he's going to be good. There's really nothing else to say. But Colby Parkinson. So this is what we were alluding to earlier. He's available everywhere. He's been so good. And now Devontae Adams is out. By far the biggest beneficiary of the Devontae situation.
Yeah,
They're going to need him in a tough game at Seattle. Like, I'm feeling great about Colby
I
Parkinson,
was
right?
feeling great. I was starting to feel better about Colby Parkinson, especially looking ahead to this week, even without knowing about Devontae Adams' injury. With Devontae Adams' injury, this opens up a door where he's a second read and he's going to get, end zone targets as well too. Like he's already been. So, if Devontae Adams has been the guy that's basically taking away the first read in the end zone, Colby Parkinson is the next is the first man up. So
Absolutely.
let's
I'm glad I convinced you in the league we're in together to grab Parkinson a week ago.
he
I'm
may
glad.
be our flex this week.
We'll talk about that. Um, just another mention of Harold Fannin. If he's somehow available, go ahead and check. You need to get him. He's the guy there. Now again, the Cleveland offense is just not good, but if anybody's going to get value, it's going to be him. They got some
Yeah.
tough matchups here, but it's Harold Fannin. Theo Johnson, I mean, again, he's just squeaking in with good games, even when they're not. quote great games. He's been good with Dart. He's been good with Dart the entire year. He's going to finish the year in the top 12. We'll be talking about him, in the offseason. They got a tough matchup this week against Minnesota, but Theo Johnson's good, right?
Yeah. Theo Johnson is definitely somebody I would feel comfortable playing this week again.
I think we've reached the point in the season where like even tight ends could be good flex options because all the other wide receivers are taken, the ones that are worth playing. So,
Yeah.
let's talk about the next guy. He's a more probable, again, he might be not available, but Dalton Schultz, 55% in ESPN, 46% in sleeper. The production has been red light, green light, but he's had so many targets the entire year. You don't run away from that. And now they're playing the Raiders. Like, okay, I'm feeling good about Schultz. Again, red light, green light, but hey, we're in line for a good game, hopefully. So
Yeah, yeah, he's been receiving a lot of targets. He's not obviously on Trey McBride or Harold Fannin or Kyle Pitts category, but he's
Kyle Pitts.
yeah. But he's basically around the same target range as Brock Bowers and not, touchdown element, but um it is an opportunity to play somebody that's been producing and catching, anywhere he's catching 82% of his balls on average.
Let's talk about Colestan Loveland. 16% in ESPN, 53% in sleeper. Not sure if he's going to be there. He's had lots of targets as of late, decent enough production, but now Odunze maybe going to continue to be out. He's going to continue to have good games going forward. I mean, we've seen one or two games where he's had some serious upside, but
Yeah.
I'm most excited about that. He's really like the Cole Kmet thing. It's like he's kind of on the back burner at this point. So I like Colston Loveland. I think I like him more for next year. But if you need a tight end, he's not gonna ruin your team if you have him in there.
No, no. I mean, him and Colby Parkinson right now, the past 4 weeks are tied at 12. But Parkinson has been receiving the touchdowns, um, whereas it's been a little bit tighter. I feel better, obviously leaning Parkinson, but Cortland Loveland is not a bad pickup as well too.
Last name on this list, Tommy has not been such a fan, but maybe let me try to convince you here. AJ Barner, 16% in ESPN, 29% in sleeper. So by far, the most available after the guys that we named up at the top. Here's the deal. He's been targeted 30 times in the last 5 games. The production hasn't quite caught up with this, but he's due again. We've seen him have a game or two, and they're going to need him in this game against the Rams. It's going to be very competitive. Um, I don't want to,
Nah,
I
yeah.
wouldn't play him over the other guys that we said,
No,
but I
no. I
like
mean,
him.
he's a nice streamer this week, but you're not playing AJ Barner over Colby Parkinson. So
No, but if I mean, let's say somebody Darren Waller, you don't get Darren Waller, you don't get Colby Parkinson, Fannon's not available, Theo Johnson's not available, Schultz is not available. Would you play Barner or Loveland?
uh, come on. I mean, one of those guys that we talked about before
Maybe.
are going to be available. I mean, there's 4 teams left in the league.
Well, other teams maybe, they're
Yeah,
staying,
other
they're
teams
playing
may,
spoiler.
yeah, other teams may be playing spoiler, but that's probably the 20% of the leagues. I mean, in all reality, you're going to be able to get one of those guys. There's no reason for you not to be able to.
Well, I want to mention something
If
that you
they're all gone, yeah, AJ Barner is a good pickup.
I wanted to reiterate something that you said earlier. So you see all the names that we have on here, they're all good names, they're all interesting, right? It's why I don't have Gunnar Helm on here. Like, I got it. Gunnar Helm is talented, but I'm not gonna even remotely take Gunnar Helm over any of these names. Like, it's not even in the same category to me. Is he to you?
It's situational. He has been getting the touchdown. I mean, he was the tight end nine on the week. But the week prior was a little rough against Cleveland, but that was a really cold game. Another kind of whatever. But that was one of those games that was basically, they were scoring a lot of points, and he was not involved. I do think that he's been leaning that the quarterback game has been leading more to Helm, as the season's progressing. And since their bye week, he's been pretty active outside of 1 week. So I think it's the same kind of scenario. If I was in a situation whether I had to play Gunnar Helm or AJ Barner,
Uh,
I probably would pick up Gunnar Helm.
you're, I think you're out of your mind. All right, you just have such a hatred towards the AJ. I don't know if you hate AJ Barner. Are you just anti every other guy in Seattle other than JSN, basically? Because you're anti Cooper Kupp, anti AJ Barner. You have this fake love towards Shaheed. I'm just curious what's going on with you with the Seattle pass catchers.
Shaheed.
Yeah, what about him? That's
I,
what I'm asking you.
I don't know. I think that I just don't think that AJ Brown Barner is the greatest pickup.
Okay, okay, all right,
Like I said, I'd probably play Gunnar Helm over AJ Barner. That's just my opinion. Your
okay.
opinion is different.
I'll add Gunnar Helm to the list just to spice it up there.
Spicy.
Yeah. You ready to move on to streamers?
Let's go.
Welcome to the A stream for all you lovely listeners streaming quarterback and or defense, where we will do our very best to hook you guys up with widely available quarterbacks and defenses to win you your week. And we need them too. And man, this is a very, very important week. Let's get right to it. Um, Quarterback position, we just want to mention right at the top, they might not be available, but if they are, then they are by far the best. That's Jacoby Brissett, who managed to get himself a quarterback 1 week, even against Houston. Unbelievable, unbelievable. So Jacoby Brissett's the top of this list.
It
44.
wasn't pretty early on.
It was not, but he got there in the end, man. The garbage, sweet garbage time. 44% in ESPN, 50% in sleeper. If he's there, go for it. The other name here, CJ Stroud, 52% in ESPN, 41% in sleeper. If he's available, no question. These names, by far, if they're available, the better than every other guy that you could name here. That having been said, there's a strong possibility they're not going to be there. So, Tommy, this is what I wanted to ask you. There's some people who are scared about certain starters. You got a couple of streamers that are in bad matchups, for example. You got Trevor Lawrence at Denver. You got Sam Darnold home against the Rams. I don't want to play them.
No.
So, which among
They've been both been playing very well. I probably lean the route of a streamer this week over one of those guys that's been really hitting hard and consistent. You got to look at the matchups that were previous weeks, and Trevor Lawrence has had some pretty easy matchups. So I just think this is where it comes back to reality a little bit. Yeah, I think that you have a better opportunity to play one of these streaming options over, Trevor Lawrence, who's been producing week in, week out for the past couple weeks.
Yeah, so I had the league that I just made the semifinals and I had to fight through. I actually got through a bad Sam Darnold week, and I am not starting Sam Darnold in this game. So I'm looking here myself. Of the names that we've got here, we got that are guys who you would actually play. Let's just quickly go through the names: JJ McCarthy, Bryce Young, Tua Tagovailoa, Tyler Shough, and Aaron Rodgers, and Kirk Cousins. I can't believe that name is on this list. Because I was petrified over some of these matchups, I had previously picked up Tyler Shough
Hmm.
as a emergency play for this week. I don't know if he's such an emergency anymore. He's at home against the Jets. He's been performing well. We like Tyler Shough, right?
Yeah, I think he's a great pickup. I think he's a great play as well too.
Is he better than the other names on this list?
So he is obviously probably one of the most open names on this list that will be available. But I do think that CJ Stroud is probably my go-to, even though he's higher owned. He's definitely one of my guys that you probably should have played, a couple weeks back, picked him up, had him plugged in for the playoff, because of the matchup he has coming on against the Vegas Raiders. But again, I mean, if somehow Jacoby Brissett is available, let me tell you something. I mean, it's
Sure.
I mean, it's it's
Atlanta
it's
and Cincinnati. Like, let's
it's
go.
it's it's super difficult not to pick him up and play him moving forward, even in bad matchups. Let's just put it this way. I mean, he is been a top 12 quarterback week
E-
in, week out
Every single week he
since
started.
week seven. Well, actually, since week five.
Since
You
he
know,
started, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. Sorry, yeah, since he started week 6. Um, and since the bye, he threw the ball 31 times. That was his lowest average. But 44, 57, 49, 40, 44, 40, 40 throws. And they're going to be throwing the ball against Atlanta as well too. Now Atlanta's pass rush is very good, but it is not Houston's pass rush. And honestly, I'm throwing him in there.
But he might not be available. So
Yeah.
assuming Brissett and Stroud are not available, who can people pick? We already talked about Shough, but is anybody a better than Shough among the more available names?
I don't trust. Well, actually, I mean, I trust Tua at home, so maybe Tua against Cincinnati.
Tua at home against Cincy, right?
Hmm.
JJ McCarthy at the Giants?
No,
No.
I'm not going there.
Bryce Young at home against Tampa Bay.
Maybe.
I'm gonna say no to Aaron Rodgers at Detroit.
No.
I'm gonna say no to that. Kirk Cousins, I know, just put up 10 trillion points, and he's at Arizona, a bad defense.
Yeah, this could be I mean, and Kirk Cousins has been looking good. He's been looking fairly good. I mean, I think the biggest thing is like everybody remembers what happened to Aaron Rodgers early in the year. And you got to remember Kirk Cousins was an injury later in the season. So maybe it took some time for him to recover. Last year, it was obviously, there was a psychological thing happening with drafting Michael Penix, and then basically, now Kirk Cousins is fully healthy. He's looking a lot better. He has the control of that offense as well too. I really think that he won that offense back over. I think he's a starting quarterback going into next year, to be completely honest. So, I feel pretty good about maybe playing Kirk Cousins here.
Yeah, I'm gonna say if it's me, if it's a 4 point passing touchdown league, I put Tyler Shough at the top, maybe Bryce Young slightly below. If it's a 6 point touchdown league, I'll put Tua at the top and maybe tie between Kirk Cousins and Tyler Shough. Like we said, I'm not crazy about Aaron Rodgers this week, and JJ McCarthy, I still don't believe it. So,
No,
yeah, I wouldn't put my playoff hopes on JJ McCarthy. But I
no,
can't believe we're going to do it on Tyler Shough, but it's definitely there. Like give him credit. I mean,
he's been consistent. I'd rather go over a guy that's been consistent than a guy that's been and nagging injuries all year.
and just to reiterate about the Tyler Shough, he's at home in the Superdome against the New York Football Jets. So there's no way he busts for you. There's no way. So go for it with Tyler Shough.
Yep.
Um, let's talk about defenses. This is really interesting here. So I just want to mention the Bills. Let's just quickly. They might not be available. 43% in ESPN, 53% in Sleeper. If they are available, they're at Cleveland. Play them. Play them. But chances are they might not be available in your league. So we got the Saints as the top name. I mean, they're
Yep.
home against the Jets, and next week they're at Tennessee. So they're good for both weeks. So rock and roll with the Saints. The Vikings are at the Giants. They're fine, and because they're a good defense, it helps the situation. You got the Chiefs here. They are at Tennessee, and I'll just say I was kind of worried, hey, maybe Tennessee goes in because the Chiefs have no motivation at this point. But if you just take the Vegas line as it is, the Chiefs should be a good play. I mean, are you that worried about it or no?
I think honestly, like we said, the Chiefs as a whole, I think they've checked out at this point, especially with the injury to Patrick Mahomes. I think they checked out, and that team is moving on. I also think that Tennessee wins this game.
Maybe. Well, therefore, we've got the Titans here. So, I mean, the Titans are at home against the Chiefs, against the starting Gardner Minshew. In an emergency situation, would you play the Titans then? Therefore, if you think they're going to win?
Emergency, massive upside needed. Yes.
All right. Let's mention the 49ers. So the 49ers are 45% in ESPN, 72% in Sleeper. I only mentioning it because they're playing the Colts, but I thought about this. I cannot believe this. I thought Rivers, from a functional perspective, looked decent enough against the Seattle Seahawks defense, and the 49ers really don't
Well,
have that good of a defense. So I don't know if I would play them here.
I don't know if I'd play him either, to be honest. Rivers was controlled. And not only that, but like there was that narrative that basically he, obviously he's coaching the high school football team, but the high school football team he's coaching, he's been training with that same playbook. I don't know how that even became a thing that he has the playbook and he's been his high school football players have been playing using the same plays. So he obviously understands the system. He understands the routes. He understands this. He understands that. He's more of a game manager now than needing to be the hero. So
Sure.
he's not able to throw the ball 60, 70 yards down the field. He's able to throw the ball 15, 20 yards down the field in some of these in routes and also hand the ball off and do some dump offs to Taylor. And I don't know if the 49ers would be a good play here as well.
Maybe not. I'm going to take them off. Vegas seems to think that they're a good play here, but I'm going to take them off because I am worried about that. Last name I want to mention on here, and Tommy, I wanted to get your opinion. So I was looking ahead for next week about widely owned defenses that are going to be good plays in week 17. And I got news for you. There's no widely available defenses that have good matchups in week 17 other than the Saints, which we pointed out, and the New York Football Giants.
Hmm.
So the Giants are home against Minnesota this week, whatever. But next week they're at Vegas. They have by far the best matchup in the entire week next week. Um, so I know you're petrified about playing the Giants defense. You talked about it last week. Considering that there's no widely available defenses other than the Saints and Giants, would you take a shot on stashing the Giants for next week if you don't have any other options on your team?
If you have no options, but I would obviously lean Saints over Giants, so I'd go Saints Giants.
Can I give you an example? Okay. Uh,
Sure.
I have the Eagles defense in one of our leagues, and so I'm starting them this week. I'm happily against the Commanders. Next week, I don't want to play them against the Bills. I don't. And
I honestly think that it's a trap game. I think that there's going to be more points with the Commanders this week, and I think that may be a slight trap.
maybe, but the point is, I'm not playing the Eagles next week against the Bills. So, I would rather play the Giants defense,
Okay.
therefore. Yeah.
Good luck.
All right. All
You got
right.
to get past this week, and is that our league that we're talking about?
Yes, it was. Yes, it
Okay.
was.
Well, I think that you're going against a juggernaut this week, and I don't think you're going to make it to the championship. That's
I
that's on a personal note.
I am the juggernaut.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
I
Yes. You
or
should change your name to Team Juggernaut then.
or I should yeah. Or I sound like I'm Walter White. I am the danger.
I
That's who I
am
am.
the danger.
So there we go. So there we go, everybody. That's our pickups of the week, and
Yep.
we're so excited. Like go win your week 16 here. And just a reminder, all of our drop candidates and waiver options will be posted in the description of this episode's video on YouTube. So please check us out there, and please do it because this is so important. And we spent a lot of time on drop candidates, for example. But go ahead, pick up your guys.
Yep.
And closing thoughts, Mr. Lang?
Yeah, we truly appreciate everybody that takes the time to watch our videos. If you could please like, share, and subscribe, we truly appreciate it. And again, like Billy said, just to cap it off, we truly appreciate everybody that has tuned into this entire season. We have another week left after this week, and then we're into the off season pretty much, and we'll have some fun videos. So please continue to tune in. We'll be doing some live videos on TikTok as well too in the off season. We're trying to bring our content in multiple platforms. So yeah, please like, share, and subscribe. Follow us all those channels and go win your week. We're here to help you guys. So drop your questions in the comments and we will answer.
We will. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.